What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining me for another episode of the blu+you podcast. And today I'm talking about a little something known as quiet quitting. Also, I have to say that quiet quitting doesn't just stop there, because some employers will allow harassment and other undesirable things to happen. That's based on an employee going to management about a coworker or even a supervisor, and the manager covers for the disrespectful coworker or whoever it is, and basically brushes it under the rug. That says to an employee that you could care less about them. Overworking someone and rewarding someone else is also gonna bring about the results of someone quiet quitting or gearing them up to quit altogether. And don't forget, the team has eyes, and people talk. The company can be affected by a number of things like this, and they can go undetected if no one speaks out, or it's already well known that the management brushes things under the rug, which usually ends up happening if the right thing isn't done from the jump, and no one wants to rock the boat. So instead of rocking the boat, they leave. And if it's a certain type of harassment, they aren't just going to quit. It may also result in a lawsuit. This episode is also being brought to you today by Passport Poppy. Passport Poppy is a merch shop that represents the world traveler in you. Whether you're exploring the world solo or with family and friends, Passport Poppy has gear that inspires you to make your travels as memorable as possible. Check out the link below that supports this podcast, and thank you in advance for your support. Happy travels. I've even had my own experience with quiet quitting. I remember working in the photo lab in a Walgreens in Miami, and you get commissions on specialty tasks that needed to be done for customers. A lady brought in well over 100 ink cartridges to be refilled. The assistant manager saw it on camera because he literally ran out of the back office and said, I'll do it. And sent me to go work on the secondary register. That was at least $5 per cartridge that would have went on my paycheck. And I know it was over 150 because I think I was in the 170s when I was counting. I mean, that would have been some good money in addition to my usual paycheck. And I bumped heads with this guy because normally you wouldn't find him outside of the office. He was outside on his cell phone or talking with the female staff. At least the ones that he was attracted to. But he found his way over to the photo lab because he saw dollar signs, which goes back to that materialism that I mentioned. I even went back over to do some ink cartridges when he went back to the office. And he ran back over telling me to go back to the secondary register. I told him how, clearly messed up that was, because she brought the ink cartridges in to me. But I went over, versus getting into it. And then the same guy had the nerve to come over trying to small talk to make sure there are no hard feelings. But I just focus on the customers. Like, what do you think? I'm not going to sit around and talk to you, especially after you just disrespected me. And then the same guy had the nerve to ask me if I could work late. Like, if you neglected your duties because you wanted to try to be greedy, that has nothing to do with me. No, I'm not going to work late. I went ahead and went home my usual time. But based on that poor treatment and just a bad experience in general, I decided to quiet quit until I landed another opportunity. I did what I had to do, and any next day film, it was left for the coworkers to do the following day. Since they were buddies with that manager, who came over and told me that my evaluation was good. Get this, he came over and told me that my evaluation was good, but after checking with other photo lab members, they said I could work a little harder. I was looking like, are you kidding me? I literally looked at him with a side eye, like, work harder, like how? Go take a look at the camera. Like, I did all my work the moment I got it, and I did next day film if Annie came in, so it's already completed for the next day team member. I kept the area clean. I stocked when boxes and stuff came in, if I had the time. And if there was a long line on the main register, I went to the secondary register and knocked out the majority of the customers quicker than the main register person. So I can ultimately get back to the lab, but also I could take customers on that lab register as well. So I would do that too. And so he follows up by saying, well, I was just telling you what they said. And so I asked them, if they told him how many times they went outside, to smoke cigarettes and talk on their cell phone during the shift. But I don't smoke, and I didn't go outside to talk on the cell phone. Then he tried to play it off like what they said wasn't really a big deal. So, don't really worry about it since it doesn't really mean anything. But if it didn't mean anything, why come over and tell me? Unless it was just for the purpose of trying to rug me wrong. But I did appreciate the intel though, because that's when I stopped doing the next day film. And sometimes it will pile up on them. I stopped doing other things too that would prepare for the next person. Like I did my job, but if it was something like all right, they wouldn't have to worry about this if I go ahead and knock that out, I just stopped it all together. And it was what it was. But that's what happens when people do foul stuff. And even one of those people that worked in the photo lab, he ended up being fired after disrespecting the head manager. And so I was just, this is before I left, so I'm just looking at the assistant manager, just shaking my head, like, that's your boy. And believe it or not, he kept on trying to smooth things over, but there was no smoothing things over from that. And if anything came up, it wasn't smoothing things over by for the sake of making things right. Basically, if he made things right by, I'm sorry for what I did based on the amount of cartridges that were there, we will add this here paycheck, even if it was in increments. I could have respected that because I was the one who took care of the customer, and he came over to benefit. He wasn't working in the photo lab. That was my shift. He took from my paycheck, basically. So any type of buddy conversation, that wasn't gonna happen. If you make it right, that would have been a different story. But he didn't. And managers and supervisors, you really have to stop and think about, certain things. Like, not everyone's going to have this specific type of situation, but there are various situations that occur. may have gone to the head manager. But I'm not mentioning him because it didn't go anywhere. But I can't recall if or when I was able to speak to the head manager. He may have been on vacation or something like that. And we had someone from another store. I think it was someone from another store that came in. But yeah. So what should you do under these circumstances? If you're in management, it should already be a part of what you already do. Like, not just my specific situation. You're managing the team, so keep an eye on their performance, not just when it's falling below what's required to maintain employment, but when they're going above and beyond. Definitely acknowledge that. When you do that, it can motivate them to stick and stay. And others might be motivated to step it up as well. And the company wins in the long run. Do right by your employees, so that they are working for someone that wronged them. That won't go over well. I say, just do right by people, especially if you want them to do right by you. That applies to individuals as well as companies. So if it makes sense as far as individuals, like respect someone and you deserve to get respect back, just apply that to the workplace, and it'll go a long way. On that note, thank you so much for checking out the blu+you podcast. If you're on the support of this podcast, please consider being one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.